So we're going to start with our first award, which is an award that I think is really applicable to NISTS in that we know a lot of you are studying or have studied transfer at the doctoral level. And so this is our Barbara K. Townsend Dissertation of the Year Award. Our recipient is Delinda Martinez. Dr. Martinez. And this is for the study, Transitioning Experiences of Transfer Students. Thank you. Congratulations. We did have an honorable mention with Kimberly Ferris, who wasn't able to join us today. Her study is from the University of North Texas, entitled The Perceptions of Policymakers on the Transfer Pathway in Texas Public Higher Ed. All right. We also give out research grants because we're cool like that. And we are the study, the National Institute for the Study of Transfer Students. A lot of times I know that we've heard on our campuses that practice and research aren't seen as something that can complement each other. However, we know that they really do go hand in hand. And so I'm really proud that the Institute is able to fund up-and-coming research that is related specifically to transfer. Our first award goes to the PI Erin Lynch Alexander for her study on perception of campus climate for military-affiliated or military-connected transfer students.
Later. Come see me later.
Thank you. We also awarded an additional research grant with PI Dr. Yu Chin, who wasn't able to make it today, but there is a study that comes out of Iowa that looks at reverse transfer that's from the 4-year to the 2-year for international students. And so they also were awarded a grant as well. I'll now hand it over to Judith Brauer. She's Associate Director for the National Institute for the Study of Transfer Students and a budding qualitative research scholar. And she'll introduce the rest of this session. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I did want to mention quickly that Delinda Martinez will be having a session tomorrow if you would like to learn more about her dissertation. What time is it? At 10 o'clock. So I encourage you to attend that to learn more. So before we dive into our an original research project that's been commissioned by NISTS over the past year, that will be the bulk of this session. But I just wanted to share with you some of my reflections as I reviewed some of the transfer research over the past year, and talk to you too about NISTS and our strategic agenda for research over the next year. Our advisory board just met, and I want to talk to you about why we really feel strongly about supporting research for transfer students. So to start with, I thought I'd take a step back and just examine the why behind research. I mean, we hear research all the time. We know we can sound smart when we talk about research. But, you know, doing research for research's sake is really not helpful. We don't have the time or resources to do that. And if it doesn't lead to a positive impact on students, it's really not worth our time. So we're good at doing research, but I'd like to ask, where does it lead us? And how is that research being used? What impact does it really have? The most fulfilling part of my job is conducting interviews and focus groups. And when I get to listen directly to transfer students, to hear their stories and amplify their voices, And I think research is a unique way, it's a disciplined way to look at the challenges that transfer students still face and to work towards a solution. It ensures that their voices are heard and taken seriously. It helps us advocate for students who still face barriers at institutions that weren't built with their experiences in mind. And as Josh Weiner mentioned, we're here to help students achieve what they want, which is a better life through completing a bachelor's degree and what that will lead to. So research provides us with this set of tools for a sustained, disciplined way of looking at our work and seeing and really examining whether it's effective and looking for new ways to serve students, all of our students. It helps us build on what we're doing well, and it helps us work smarter, not harder. So as I've read over the transfer-related research over this past year, I'm encouraged, but I also see room for growth. I see some of the same topics and some of the same voices, and at the same time, I see exciting new energy and focus. And I'm especially encouraged by our Dissertation of the Year Award winner and our research grant winners. Where can we find transfer research? It's in a lot of places, and a lot of times it's kind of hidden and hard to find all the places that it's hiding. So it's good that there's a lot out there. The negative side is that it's kind of dispersed. So of course it's in peer-reviewed journals. And some of those are the Community College Journal of Research and Practice, New Directions for Institutional Research, which both of those journals this past year actually published issues that whole issues that specifically focused on transfer, which is kind of cool. Then there's some others like the Teachers College Record, Community College Review, which I believe has an issue in progress that's specifically focused on transfer. So it's really neat to see that there is this continued recognition of the need to study this topic. And then you see studies scattered throughout discipline-specific journals like the International Journal of Engineering Education, which featured an article about advising for engineering transfer students. And just to give you a little bit of insight into that special issue from the New Directions on institutional research, that issue was particularly well done. It was well thought out. The authors demonstrated their knowledge of transfer research up to this point, and many of them were asking extremely relevant questions and really pushing the research forward. One article that illustrated this was entitled, "Advancing a New Critical Framework for Transfer Student Research," and that was co-authored by Frankie Landon and Dimple Jan. And they just did such a nice job of taking what we already know, but recognizing a big gap, and specifically focus on transfer student capital and the unique value that students from diverse populations bring and different ways of looking at it. And so I really appreciated that they were really pushing the envelope and in a very critical and needed area. So I'll just touch on a few of the gaps or what's not working. So as I kind of referred to, the research is out there and it's hard to access, particularly I think for practitioners, having the time, making the time to find it and read it, not knowing how to translate the research to practice, not even knowing where to look. Sometimes that's a challenge because it's in so many different places. And then also, there's a lack of a strategic collaborative focus. As I mentioned, certain transfer topics tend to be studied over and over, and sometimes that can be a good thing, but sometimes maybe we're missing something too, looking at the same things and not seeing what else hasn't been addressed yet. So there's a need for synthesis and analysis versus just doing more research. And I think that there's also room for growth in terms of cultivating a real community of scholars around transfer who can work together to have this strategic focus. And I think that the value of practitioner researchers is often overlooked or not highlighted enough or supported enough. Nothing replaces your perspective, the perspective of professionals who work directly with transfer students. So I think we need to think about how we can encourage you in your work and to think as a researcher and see yourself as valuable contributors to the research. So I wanted to just give a charge to practitioners and to researchers and then to organizations like NISTS and also give you a little bit of a preview of what we have planned moving forward. So to practitioners, I say get involved in doing research. Your perspective is invaluable to research. Your daily interactions with transfer students and colleagues on your campus provide a unique position to uncover issues that need to be addressed. You see what's working and you see what's not working, and you see the range of experiences among transfer students. And I would also say think about whether the students you serve are represented in the transfer research. When you learn about best practices, use them with a critical eye to see if they truly fit your student population. And if not, why not? And see yourself as a researcher. Cultivate your sense of curiosity. Develop your research skills. Read articles. Find a way to make it manageable. Have an article reading club. Connect with others on your campus who are interested in cultivating research skills. I know several of you are in graduate school. It's always nice to find other folks on campus who are in graduate school. And if you're the only one on your campus, reach out. Use this as an opportunity to make connections with people that you can continue to have conversations with. And that's one of the roles that we take very seriously, is to help facilitate those connections. And to researchers, I say be more intentional in what we research. Pay attention to what is not being examined and where the strategic gaps are.